versus
the skinny jeans was gonna take me out of here. I was like, if I see one more man in skinny jeans. In general, I'm not a fan of skinny jeans.
Yeah.
But I hate seeing men in I especially if it's like skinny jeans with rips in them. I'd rather eat a jean jacket than see another man in there.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Check-In with Black Menswear. We're here in season 6, and I'm really excited to be sitting here with an amazing black woman joining us on the Check-In today. Emmy-nominated, fashion pioneer, got your line at Macy's, doing a little thing here and there, TV host, all the great things that come with that. Welcome to the Check-In, Mina Parker. Thank you. All right, now, with coming on the Check-In, I start this the same way with everybody. Don't be scared.
Okay.
I like to ask this question because it really helps me to understand the mind of my guest. Over your lifetime, you've heard a lot of quotes, you've read a lot of scripture. What is one quote or mantra or something that stuck with you over this time that really kind of defines who you are?
There's so many. I have like some, I have like a whole collection saved from Instagram.
Oh, yes.
And there's some real ratchet ones.
That comes.
Depends on the season of my life.
They come through when they need to, though.
Can I cuss? Is that too early?
This is an authentic show.
No, I won't say this one. It's really ratchet. But I look at it daily. But I would say there's one that I saw like in college that is probably the one that is the most consistent that I think of that's really helpful in LA, in the entertainment business. Mm-hmm. And it's rejection is God's way of protection. Mm-hmm. That's probably the one I go back to the most.
Yeah.
Because LA is it's a city of yeses, but it's also a city of no's.
For sure.
And it can really impact your self-esteem when, you're trying to do a project or something and you get a no and it's something that you really care about.
Yeah.
But it also, I think, can go with relationships, dating, friendships. So it's the one that I think I go back to the most that is simple, but I think it can help. It just kind of helps ease that no, like, okay, God's will is somewhere else.
It guides you, it really guides you because, to your point, his will is somewhere else. Yeah. This wasn't for me for a reason, and I'm going to be okay with that.
You want it, it may not be what you need.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
So that, as with age, that has come as well. Like, not everything I want is everything I need.
For sure. That's maturity,
it comes. It goes to, but...
Well, let's go back. Let's start at the beginning of the journey. Like, what drew you into being I'm going to call you a personality, right? Okay. What drew you into being on screen, moving to LA? Okay. Why was that your path, Mina Parker?
So it was, always something I wanted to do. I always knew I wanted to work in TV. I remember like being a kid and my parents getting like something big, like maybe a new TV, but something that had an enormous box. And I remember like cutting the hole out and like popping in and drawing dials when TVs had dials. I'm aging myself, but like drawing dials and like popping in and like having my own show. I used to do these puppet shows for my family. Like I knew I wanted to entertain. Yeah. I just wasn't sure what I wanted to do. So I played around with like print journalism and worked on like my college paper. But when I was at a JC first, so when I transferred to my 4-year university, I was like, I think I want to do broadcasting. And my dream for a while was being a local news anchor. And then I interned for local news and was like, this ain't for me. Like, I don't, it can be local news is dark. Like you're hearing,
correct.
It's a lot of death in
correct.
Local news.
Yeah,
and it was too dark for me on an everyday basis. And I was like, I think I want to report, but I think I want it to be about entertainment. And that's kind of why I went to school for broadcasting. And then, the real life hit after graduation. And I could not get a job to save my life. I moved to New York. Nobody would hire me. I had to move back to California, move back in with my parents. And I was working at a call center for like 4 years. And I was incredibly miserable. I was like crying every day. And my mom, I was in my 20s. My mom was like, girl, you don't have to do this. Like, you ain't got no husband, no kids. Like, you want to go to LA, just go to LA. And it was literally like, I just needed somebody to just kind of shake me. Yeah. And I literally took 2 weeks vacation the next day. Drove with my mom to LA. I found like a little room to rent. It didn't even have a door. It was like one of those lofts and was illegally renting. Yes. And I was like, I just need a bed.
Yes.
And I moved to LA, no job. I only had like $2,000 in savings. I had enough rent for 1 month. So I was like, I got to get it. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I got to get it. And I got it. So I was just like, I think with the being somewhere miserable for 4 years and being in the city that I saw dreams coming true was so much motivation. I feel like I just skyrocketed into the universe of like, God was like, okay, you made a step. I'm gonna make another for you. So I think I moved to LA in, I want to say April of 2007. By June of 2007, I was working at TMZ.
Okay.
And by September of 2007, I was on I was on TV with TMZ nationally, and we were filming every single day. It happened that quick.
Yeah, that's that. You take that leap.
Yeah,
I got you.
I think you know, it's like you can want as much as you and pray about it, but you've gotta, you know, make steps to show God that you're serious. And I think, you know, for 4 years I was crying and praying, but I wasn't doing anything to actually motivate myself to you know, make the next step. I was just praying about it, but I wasn't really doing anything, and I probably wasn't listening to the signs of what I could do until my mom finally came in and kind of verbally slapped me. It was like, girl, like quit crying and do something about it. And that's really been the mantra for my life, is like how I created my clothing line, quit crying and do something about it. Like I'm at the point where like if something makes me unhappy, I'm always like, how can I make a bag out of this? How can I turn this into something where I can make a little coin? So I went through a really miserable part of my life. And I also appreciate, I've been in LA 20 years now, and I still really appreciate being in this business, being in LA. I still drive through Beverly Hills and get chills. Like I never have lost like the love for and appreciation for where I'm at, because I appreciate it every single day, because I remember what it was like when I didn't have it.
Yeah. One thing I really value about you and appreciate about you, and I'm just getting this now, is this authenticity.
Oh, thank you.
And how important, you know, when you think about it, I actually I thought you were gonna go a different route with the with the locals. Like, I don't want to have to do my voice like this every single day, and it's like kind of reporting live. It'd be like, I want to be able to like be me and be authentic. How important for you is maintaining authenticity now, and then for those that are maybe up and coming, how important is for them to be authentic with who they are in their storytelling?
Well, I think now it's so easy. Like I think why TikTok is so popular is because you have people being authentic. They're doing videos with pimple patches on, they bonnets on, and they're getting millions of followers because they're just being their authentic selves. They have to brush their teeth and they give them videos, and people enjoy that. People gravitate to that. When I first moved to LA, authenticity was frowned upon. So I got told, especially after I left TMZ and was trying to pursue a traditional journalism career, I got told a lot that I was too opinionated, that I was too vocal, you know, I was too Black. Because I was, you know, all things Black. I'm promoting, you know, any news, any celebrities Black. That's what I would be pitching, those stories. So for me, it was a really hard time when I was trying to venture into mainstream media, because everything authentic was being shunned. They wanted a size 0 girl, you know, giving the information, no opinion. I was like the opposite of all that. And so I don't even know how I thrived in that kind of environment, because everybody did not like what I represented, but the people who were watching really gravitated towards it. And it's why I think like there are so many people who have followed me from place to place, because I've done mainstream, I've done e-news, but I've also done love and hip hop, right? So my audiences kind of follow me, and I think it's because I'm just myself. I genuinely don't know how to be anything else. I wish I could like put on for cameras. The only thing I don't do is probably I have a potty mouth, so I'm a little more crass off camera, but other than that, it's the same.
Yeah. I mean, but that's a, you know, you talk about like the progression of media that we're in now, and one thing I think now we're in a space where everyone can find their voice, and everyone could have their voice and lean into their voice, because there are so many different methods of communicating with people and different streams of media. But, you know, when you think about just navigating a career in an industry, right? Now, I know that there's one thing to be authentic. There's one thing to be authentic, but there's another thing to understand, all right, how do I navigate? How important is it understanding how to navigate to win? And Sir John was on this season, and Sir John, he called it translating. So it's not changing who I am. It's like, I got to translate for this room.
Right.
How important is it for you to be able to understand how to navigate while maintaining your authenticity?
Well, I think that's just something you learn being Black. Like, I think, you know, when I have a couple of white homegirls, and they're themselves in every space, and on a 10, it doesn't matter where we're at. But like, I've never really had the luxury of being able to be myself authentically 100% in every single space I'm in, because I understand that there is, you know, that sometimes with Black folks, you can only be happy, you know, like they want the happy Negro. Like they don't want you to have sadness or anger or everything is, I feel like my emotions are always amplified sometimes if I'm in an all white space. And I think we've all felt that from when we were kids, you know? And for me, I grew up in a very multicultural place. So it was a little bit of everything. So I feel like I was really lucky to learn about other cultures, but I also learned when I got into other spaces that like my full Blackness wasn't always appreciated. And as a kid, it's like very strange to have people, you know, telling you to act a certain way and be a certain way. But my white friends would be able to just run through the store and yell and be themselves. And I think it almost helped them be able to learn how to just walk in and be like, this is my space, everyone work around me, because you know, that was something that it wasn't an Achilles heel or a voice in their ear, but I always had that when we go in the store, you know, we have those conversations. So I think like, it's just something that comes to you naturally when you go to school and you become a professional. You know, I'm not always going to bring like my full Nina in the house self to work. And so that's something that you learn in your career. You learn like what audiences can take these parts of you. And then as you get older, you stop caring as much. And then you just like, they just gonna get what I give. And then I find my people, like, whoever doesn't mess with this, I'm just not for you. So now I'm in that space where I'm like, I'm 100% this all the time. And if I'm not for you, no hard feelings.
You know what? And that's a great, I'm gonna put you on the spot then. Okay. So our audience, primarily Black men.
Hey.
So I would like for you to, so let's say for a minute, you got the ear of every Black man in the world. What would you tell them right now?
Well, see, I don't know when this is going to air, but some news just broke.
In the spring.
It's going to be in the spring. I mean, it's still going to be relevant. It might still be relevant. It just happened for us. But like, you know, I don't know his name, the coach of Michigan. I was like watching it, and I know nothing about sports. So that's how you know this is topical conversation, because I don't even know nothing about Michigan, but I know all about the tea. And you know what, I just hate that, like, you know, when I see Black men, I want every Black man to see themselves the way I know, like, me and my girlfriend see them, as kings, as, you know, to be revered and, you know, partners. But I do think there are some categories of Black men that really need validation from the outside world. And sometimes I feel like it's not enough from Black women. You know, sometimes I think they're like, okay, yeah, but you grew up with us. You know how it's like your mama tells you you're pretty, you're like, but you my mama, you're supposed to tell me that. Sometimes I think there's an air of like, they need that from everybody. And I think that like, sometimes that validation seeking can get incredibly toxic. And it can, you know, you can work your whole life like this coach did, you know, to get millions of dollars and have the life you dreamed of. And it's the self-sabotage gets into play. And self-sabotage, I think, within the Black community is really real, because imposter syndrome plays a part, and you work really hard. And we've seen this time and time again, but specifically with Black males. And I hate to see it. And I think it's like, you know, there's always this foreshadowing. I think especially like if you got mamas, sisters, they always like, look, like, do you, but like, don't throw your life away, you know? So I've seen that happen, unfortunately, especially when like money and power gets into play. I think it really is a drug. But I hate to see it, because I'm like, if you knew what we knew, you know, you wouldn't need to seek anything outside because of the way we see you and we love you. And so I want more. I think a lot of Black men know that, but the you know, the few that don't, I really want more of their friends to grab them and be like, look, like, you know, I think with me and my friends, we hold each other accountable. And I love when I see Black men hold each other accountable. And I would love to see it more when, especially in positions where we see these men have power and we see it come and go because of vices.
That's one of the ones I'm one of them people that's like, everything I need comes from within, comes from us.
Of course.
You know, comes from us, comes from our community. What's one thing that you think that Black men need to know about Black women?
I mean, we're in the fight with you. I think, you know, I don't know what it's like to be a man. I don't know what it's like to be a Black man in America. But I do, you know what it's like to be a Black woman. And I think like our struggles are very similar. They're more similar than we give each other credit for. And I think it's easy to be insular and just think about yourself and like what it's like for you. But there are, there's sometimes at work, I'm like, oh, there's these boys clubs and I'm not included in them. And, so I think our challenges can be different, but a lot of them are similar. And it's not like it's not like a contest on who, is more oppressed. It's not like the oppressed Olympics. And I think there is something to be said for being able to speak the same language and having someone really without, we Black folks have a sixth sense with each other where we can communicate without saying anything.
Right.
And, sometimes I think it's easier to just beat up on the people next to you. So I know there's a lot of gender wars that take place. But, outside of social media, I don't experience that a lot. Like, when they were saying like Black men didn't vote for Kamala, and then the statistics show different.
Yeah,
so it's like if you get caught up in these videos and like, hot mic moments and headlines, it'll have you believe in that we're more against each other than we are. But I often feel like what happens online is very different from my real life. I have my mom and dad are still together. I have positive Black men in my life. I know positive Black men in my community. So, if I was just listening to everything else, the fray, I would really change my mind. And unfortunately, I think that sometimes when these things get online and everybody's watching them and commenting, it can create an image in your head that you didn't even experience. For sure. And so not just Black men, but Black men and women, I want us all to like take a step back and be like, okay, but who's in my life that's actually making a difference? Who can I count on? And oftentimes it's each other.
That's the truth. Like, our depiction of who we are a lot of times is told by what we see so much and the information that we obtain. And to your point, if I see this every day, but then I know my surroundings don't match what this is, a lot of times we just fall into it versus like, nah, that ain't true.
Like, I will tell you one thing in your experience, like, I'm a plus size woman. The world would tell you I'm not desired, that I'm dateless, that I'm, sitting in the house. I'll be outside every day. I'll be on dates every weekend. It's just not my reality. That's just not what I experience. I'm not saying people don't, but that's, and by the way, Black men have always loved a curvy woman. So it's like, I've never experienced these like things. So I'm always like, people can say whatever, but most of the time it's people that are completely out of touch with the community that you're in, that are making assumptions. And then you have a couple bad apples going in and validating them. And then, this opinion, it becomes mainstream. That's just the opposite from the reality you live.
Yeah, I think that's one of the ways where sometimes everybody ain't supposed to have a mic. Everybody not supposed to be able to say
They need to charge for these.
Yes.
And maybe a little IQ test.
Yes.
Take a breathalyzer before you can use it. Like, there needs to be, in 2026, I want some rules for podcast mics because not everybody should have one.
Everybody
need a phone. At this point, y'all go use a payphone because you don't know how to use it. Yeah. I'm like, it's just so many people can be anonymous and leave the most vile things.
That's something I don't appreciate either. Like, say it with your chest.
Yeah.
If you want to really,
don't say it on a private page.
Right.
With a picture of your dog. Like,
or no picture at all. Like, what?
Yes.
So we go through your career, right? And see, I'm sticking a little bit more entertainment, and I'm getting to this fashion.
Okay.
So. I've heard you talk about your start at TMZ. I've heard you talk about your transition out.
Yeah.
For you, like, what is one obstacle you had to overcome that you were like, you know what, God, I am appreciative of this. I hate that it had to happen. I hate that I had to do this, but I'm a better Nina for it now.
Yeah. I mean, getting fired helps. Getting fired builds a character.
Yeah.
Because, it's, I had this one-on-one with Issa Rae. We did an interview and we were talking and she was like, I had to ask myself, is my value in this one thing, or do I have more to give the world? And I thought it was such an amazing way to phrase it because that's how I've always felt. When I leave a place, I've never felt like my success was beholden upon where I was employed. I've always felt like, well, if this is ordained by God, if there's a vision for me, if there's a plan for me, it doesn't matter if I'm at, TMZ, CBS, VH1, E, like my value isn't in where I'm employed. My value is in like my voice. Yes. My value is in the talent that I have. Yes. The my opinions, the way that I present myself to the world. Yes. And again, like the people who were supposed to find me will find me. And as we know, like entertainment is changing so much. you don't need a network to put your opinion out in the world. I could do a video right now, put it in Reels, and it goes viral, right? So, I think like when I first started, I really placed a lot of value in where I was at. And as I've learned, like when a contract ended at a place, my contract wasn't renewed at CBS, and I was devastated by it. It really rocked me. An older Black man, his name is Ernest, and he was seasoned, like so seasoned in TV. He'd been in TV for like 40 years. And this was my first job outside of TMZ. And so I really felt like a failure I was a correspondent. I was working like all the red carpets, and I really felt like I had made the successful transition because a lot of people from TMZ wouldn't go anywhere else. So I was like, I made a successful transition. I did it. And then I was making the most money I'd ever made in my life. And then it was gone. And I didn't have no savings because I didn't know money management at the time. And I also was I was so scared I'd never work again. And I was like, when you're young and a job goes away, you go to the extreme. So I was like, I'm never going to work again. I'll never forget, I was sitting outside crying in my parking space that was about to go away. And I was just so crushed that it felt like these people didn't see the value in what I was doing. And Ernest was like, what's going on? And I was telling him they didn't renew my contract. I was basically fired and I had to leave. And he was like, girl, you're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And he was almost like callous about it, like, because he saw something I didn't see at the time. And he was just like, you're going to go on and do amazing things. And we're still friends to this day. And every time I post something, he comments, told you, every post with like an announcement. And he's still working in this industry. And he really, really spoke life into me because he was just kind of like, there's so much more than this. And you're going to see it. And you're going to see how beautiful your journey is going to be. You can't see it now, go cry, but then remember who you are and remember like what you have to bring. And he was right. And within 6 months, I had got the Love and Hip Hop reunions. And then it was even larger scale of people that knew who I was. So, everything happens for a reason. I wouldn't have been able to do that at CBS. And it was my first solo hosting gig. It was, it put me in touch with so many people. I was traveling because of it. So it really changed my life. So, it's all, I always feel like getting let go can actually be the best thing that's ever happened to you.
Yeah, it's unfortunate at the moment, right? Because we're thinking about like, what didn't I do? What could I have done? And I'm glad you had Mr. Ernest. Shout out Mr. Ernest.
Mr. Ernest. Yes, he is the best. Ernest Winborn, he is still in this industry to this day, still working, and he's incredibly seasoned, and he spoke life into me, and really at a really, really low moment where I was really devastated. And he was like, girl, you're going to be just fine. And, we need that. We need each other. We need that experience. And I was able to pass that on to other women or, young men that I've seen be, let go from places like this. Is just a part of your story, not your whole story.
Yeah, absolutely. And now, one of the many things that you have going on right now is Friday Night Vibes, and you're able to be a little more comedic.
Yes.
And I'm assuming you talked about like something you're doing now you wouldn't have been able to do had you still been where you were.
Yeah.
How do you like this aspect of things now, especially being able to sit down and have a good conversation, to be comedic and have your funny and livelihood come out through your on screen?
It's amazing. When I was at some of these more traditional networks, they scale your personality back. So, or they'll cut out parts or, and so now it's just being able to be myself fully, tell the jokes, but some people see me telling jokes and they're like, oh, we didn't know you do that. You was joking joke, because they've only seen one side of me. So it's been nice to, it's like, none of us are one-dimensional, but sometimes people only see one part of you. And so it's really nice to be able to kind of stretch my legs a little bit because it's something I enjoy. I like working with comedians. Like I like being able to act a fool.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it a lot.
Yes. No, it's a beautiful thing when it comes back to authenticity, right?
Yeah.
It's allowing you to be in a space, allowing you to be on stage or on a set where you can be authentic.
Yeah.
And how important is transitioning through different kinds of genres, right? From hosting to reporting to now, or hosting, let's say, red carpets, to then reporting to now hosting shows and controlling. I like to say, like, when you host, you really kind of control the ambiance of that show. What does that mean to you to be and it's good and bad, right? Because if you're having a bad day, you gotta turn it off. You're like, let's go out here and host this. So that way, you know, other people receive that.
Yeah.
But how do you like being able to be the catalyst for the enjoyment of the show or the experience that you're providing?
No, I mean, I love it. I'm a professional yapper. I enjoy it. So I always, I'm the kind of person that if I'm out, I'm going to talk to the strangers. I'm going to have those conversations with people. I'm going to make best friends with the girls in the bathroom. So being able to be paid to do something I was already doing naturally is always a good time. And, when you talk about a bad day, it's like we all, we have them. And I've really learned how to compartmentalize in my career and shelve it. I don't ignore it, but I do shelve it. Like work is my baby. Work is like number one and the most important thing to me. So I put that stuff on the shelf for later, and I'm like, I'll have a drink with my girlfriends later, but for now I need to focus. I need to do my research. I need to come in and be professional. I need to be on time. That stuff takes precedence over, irritation or, somebody cut me off in traffic, and I got an attitude, I'm hangry, I didn't eat. I've learned how to compartmentalize that, because for me, I made the decision a long time ago that my career, I wasn't going to derail it by stupid shit. I'm not going to derail my career because I'm late all the time. I'm not going to derail it because, I don't know how to be professional. Because we already have all these other factors against us. I'm not going to contribute to that in the workplace. So I made that decision a long time ago, and it's really, really served me.
I think it's even within that, just understanding that balance that we have to all right, like you say, compartmentalize it. I'm gonna shelve it for now. I'm gonna get to it. I'm going to address it, but for now, I can't. There've been people that have unfortunately lost their way because of bad moments turned into years. You know what I mean? And so just being able to understand that and process that, it comes back to the level of maturity. I think one thing that I would like to know about too. Was there an aha moment for you which made you decide, you know what, I'm going to do my own fashion line? Because, all right, going through all this stuff, whatever, I'm going to do my own thing. What was one of those moments for you that really helped you to launch your line? It
was years of disappointment because, I was doing a show on E! Where I had to be on camera 5 days a week. And finding outfits. I had a stylist who was getting paid just to shop for me. And we were really struggling with clothing options, or when I would have a red carpet event, having to order things online because we couldn't go in stores because they didn't have any plus options. So I was noticing that I was having challenges that my other counterparts who were size 1 or 2, they never had. So on top of having to do my research, I had to I had an insecurity about what I was going to look like, because what I wanted to look like in my head and then the options I was getting did not translate. And that's incredibly frustrating. Your swag is different when you walk out the house and you're in something that you feel like you put that shit on,
for sure,
and then somebody put some shit on you. And you're like, okay, the clothes are wearing me, I'm not wearing the clothes. And it's it's an insecurity, and then you see other people looking great and you feel like you didn't even have a chance. And that's how I felt a lot. And getting back to what I mentioned earlier, I started to become a problem solver in my own life instead of a complainer. Not that I don't complain, but I'm always thinking how can I solve something? So I think after a while of frustration and also seeing other women feel the same way. And I was like, I have money and resources and I'm struggling. So I know the everyday woman is struggling. I remember having a conversation with my agent where I was like, hey, I think I want to start a clothing line. And she thought I was crazy. She was like, we have never talked about this. Where is this coming from? You do not have a background in fashion. How are we supposed to do this? And I was like, I don't know, girl, but call somebody. And it was so crazy because, again, I put it in the universe. And a week later, before she was able to even make any connections, there was a woman who had been watching my nightly show. I had a show on E! Called Nightly Pop, and it was a nightly show. And she would watch it before bed. And she really enjoyed how I put my outfits together. And she had done celebrity lines with major retailers. She had worked with Nicole Richie, Maluma. She had worked with some sports people, I don't know. But she had worked with major names, and she was looking to do plus. She had never done plus before. And she was like, I really want someone who knows their stuff. And I see what you're doing. Would you be interested in having a meeting with me? So this was December of 2019. Within a couple of weeks, we signed an agreement. And we started creating Mina Parker collection in 2020, and we launched in 2021. Yeah.
How does it? Have you had moments where people have then come back and told you thank you, because now I have options?
Yeah.
I feel
every day.
Every day.
It's been, I always thought TV was my first love and it's my only love. And I think like when you get older, you realize you can have more than one passion, more than one love, more than one career. And I think like, especially with TV changing so much, I was so grateful to have fashion because it was like a nice pivot because TV kind of goes like this,
right?
And you got to hold on and put your seatbelt on with the good and the bad. Right. And so when those low moments in TV hit, I was still working on the clothing line, and it's been incredibly fulfilling. I've had men reach out to me, Black men actually, who have messaged me and said, I'll never forget. I had a man message me and say, hey, my wife gained a lot of weight during pregnancy. It doesn't bother me, but she wasn't going on dates anymore. Like she didn't feel pretty because her clothes didn't fit. Yeah. And I bought her some of your clothes, and he sent me a picture of them on date night, and she's smiling and she was so happy. Wow. And he was like, we might have another baby because of this. So, it was like the most fulfilling message. I was like, oh my gosh. Wow. I've had women reach out. I've even, and this is how it's an epidemic with clothing, because I've had celebrities, A-list celebrities, who can get into any party but still felt like they didn't have clothes to wear. Wow. And they've reached out to me, and their teams have reached out to thank me for, providing options, because they were like, can you believe they didn't have a little black dress for her? So I'm like, okay, I got you. And I would send it to them or whatever they needed. But it almost created this little community of people who just wanted to feel seen. And it's crazy because I had Octavia Spencer reach out. She's been to, Oscar winner. Yeah. And she was like, she messaged me like, thank you so much for sending me these. Like, you can't imagine like how hard it is for us to still get clothes, which to me is just insane.
Yeah, that is insane. And it kind of went back to earlier, like what they have of this depiction in the industry of what everyone should be like. And It's like, no, that's not true. People are still regular humans. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's like, it's all kinds of shapes and sizes. And I mean, I wouldn't want to watch a movie where everybody looked the same. I'm, so grateful to see it, but it's just such a challenge when it comes to like this industry and what you see on camera and what, the clothes. A lot of people have custom because they just don't make it. And I'm really trying to clear that void. So it's like, damn, you just want a cute airport outfit. Like, can I get a cute outfit to wear to the airport? Yes, I try to think of those things. I don't try to reinvent the wheel. I just try to think of like, what would I want to wear and why? For whatever reason, they stopped making these jeans at a size 10. Mm-hmm. And all the plus girls I know dress down. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, I don't understand like why this isn't available, and they spend money. So it just to me didn't make sense even, from any standpoint. Yeah. Any obstacles you had to overcome as you kind of like transition into a fashionista entrepreneur in the fashion world? I mean, yeah, every day. Every day. Under this administration, entrepreneurship was crazy. Yeah. There's been challenges now more than ever because of tariffs. And, that's been incredibly difficult. I mean, I think brick and mortar is really suffering across the board. Yeah. The money people were spending, the little, extra $150 you would spend on a shirt a couple of years ago, people don't have right now. That's going to groceries and gas. Right. So there's been a lot of challenges with like, if you're working in retail and you're providing a clothing line, that a lot of it, your money comes from what the stores buy. Like they place a buy. And fashion is a year in advance. So, wherever the climate is right now is what they have to base it on in a year. And so they make their buys based on what, what's the climate now, even though it's in a year in advance. And that can be incredibly challenging if people aren't shopping, if, you can't ship things in on time, if you don't have access. So there, just like entertainment, there are a lot of challenges within fashion. Usually I would have it where if, one area was challenging, the other industry would not be. Right. That is not the case. TV and fashion are very much in the struggle lane. But what I've also learned is like nothing lasts forever. So it's really, I've made the decision to put 10 toes down in this industry and I'm not leaving. Yeah. So I'll weather the storm. And so, there's moments where you have to pivot. And, luckily, like social media exists, where there are moments TV and fashion are pivoting. I'm still able to use social media as an outlet and get brand deals and things. So, I have to make it work for me. But you always, is that too loud?
It is loud, but they keep.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. 3, 2. It's been challenging for me, but also like, you kind of just learn what you're made of. And like I said, I make these decisions where I'm like, I'm not leaving, I'm not moving, I'm not going to start another career, I'm not giving up. So I just learn how to weather the storm. And a lot of that is just like tenacity, but like, you know, I just made that decision. Like, I'm not getting, if I leave, it's because of my choice, and I made the decision I'm not. So I just, you know, I kind of just go with the ebbs and flows of it all.
Say 10 toes down.
You have to, and it's not easy.
Yeah.
Because it's probably like the most challenging. Both industries are probably the most challenging they've been in a really, really long time.
Yeah.
I've never seen TV in a state like this. If you would have told me this 10 years ago, I would have laughed. I wouldn't have imagined that like TV has been in such distraught news. You know, I mean, being a journalist, you know, going to school for journalism and seeing the state of journalism has been really disappointing. Yeah. So I do what I can, you know, but it's you know, I've really learned self-care and finding joy outside of work to stay sane.
Yeah.
So y'all don't see me crashing out every day online.
So now, like you knee deep in fashion,
okay,
right? But you had the opportunity to be a spotlight designer for Harlem Fashion Row, New York Fashion Week.
Yes.
Like what was that experience like?
Crazy. You know what? We did Fashion Week, but it was posed to us like 2 months before Fashion Week. So I went into the summer not planning to do Fashion Week, and we came out with a spring line for Fashion Week, and it was incredibly stressful, but like incredibly rewarding. We moved faster than we've ever moved before, and it was so well received. And I have never done, you know, a real like runway fashion show. We've done like little spots where we've, you know, done appearances, but like I'd never done anything that major during such a week of fashion, and to do it for plus women who basically are virtually ignored during Fashion Week. So many people came out to support. Sherry Shepherd came to the show, you know, Kev on stage and his wife flew in just to come to the show. Like it was really, really, there was so much support and people just showing up, and it was life-changing to do. And I definitely want to do it again.
Okay, well, hey, that's a caveat to when you will do it again. You let me know, and I would love to attend and experience.
Yes, of course.
As well.
You are more than welcome.
Yes. Now, there's this gentleman out there that asked him the question on GQ, asking the question, said, who's the most stylish man? And Coleman Domingo said, Coleman Domingo. For you, though, like, who are some men out there that you think, I mean, every time I see them, they just got it together?
I really love Ryan Coogler's style. He's from the Bay. I love that. I feel his blackness through, you know, his style. And it's like, you know, he wears his cornrows like he is, you know, himself. And, you know, he hasn't changed a lot, but it's, you know, you can see it.
He still talk like he was in the Bay yesterday.
Absolutely. His accent is thick. He has a thick accent. Yes. Obviously, Michael B. Jordan has great style. I love the rock style. It's really elevated and changed. And I don't know if a lot of people notice, but I'm like, he has really great like casual style, which I appreciate. I love a man who can dress down, but also have a really great casual outfit. Your executive producer, Karis.
Come on, Karis Nelson.
Great style.
That's because he's a noob. You know, something about these men that's capped off inside fraternity.
Shout out to my Deltas though. But yes, you know, I love men who give attention to what they're wearing. And so I'm trying to think of who else. Idris. And Idris could be in a paper sack, and I'm saying Idris. I mean, he's got wonderful style. So I mean, and obviously Coleman Domingo, I think, just to me is his red carpet outfits are just the epitome of just
crushing it.
Yes. I'm trying to think if there's anyone that we don't talk about enough. But those are the ones who stand out. But just, you know, it's the classics, but they do it.
I like what you said too about the balance of dress up and dress down. And you see like a lot of, and that was one thing that I really enjoy is I like how men play with pants.
Yes.
Because now coming into the age of like flare bottom.
Thank God.
I got on doggone bell bottom. Flared pants.
I love it.
Wide leg pants.
Thank God.
Versus
the skinny jeans was gonna take me out of here. I was like, I see one more man in skinny jeans. In general, I'm not a fan of skinny jeans.
Yeah.
But I hate seeing men in especially if it's like skinny jeans with rips in them. I'd rather eat a jean jacket than see another man in that. I'd rather them not even have on pants.
Yeah.
And that's saying something. I hate a skinny jean.
They just had to put on a little bit of fabric on their body.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
all it was.
So I'm glad that trend is leaving us. Because, it is something to be said for like a man over 45 in skinny jeans. Like, sir, like, let's have a conversation. It's not my favorite thing. So, we all have those like things we hate. That's probably like my biggest nemesis is a skinny jean.
Well, I'm glad they're not out anymore.
No, I love a wide leg. I love a nice but I also just think there's something to be said for tailoring. Like, I think it's not that expensive. You can find a really good, affordable tailor at your local neighborhood. And it's such an art to getting things tailored, like finding things for men and women, finding things that fit your body makes such a difference instead of trying to fit to a trend.
Yeah.
Seeing a trend and wanting to get into it. Not every trend is for you.
Yes.
Like, I really love Fear of God and what they do. They really, to me, have the epitome of quality and casual, but also swag. Like a fit from that, or like a dupe from that. I would like. I'm drooling. I love it.
Is that Jerry?
It is. Jerry Lorenzo.
He's a noob as well.
Oh
so
my
I'm just
God! What is going on? I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to do this.
No.
I actually did not know that. So.
He's recent. He's a little later in life. No, but I mean, again, I appreciate style. Our platform, what we build with Black Menswear, it's less about the clothes. It's more about how the men represent themselves. And like, that's been a very important thing for us, is to allow brothers to be safe in a space that they feel like they're representing themselves on a 360 degree, not just one lane, not just one aspect of life, but collectively.
Yeah.
And, we started with the suits, but we're in this space now where it's like, well, how do I elevate this?
Yeah. By the way, Andre 3000.
Oh, 3 Stacks is
I
great.
love his creative style.
Yes.
I love men who have their own style, like who, they can be artistic or be themselves, but it's still swaggy.
Yeah.
And I think he's like the epitome of that, which I think a lot of people recognize. But I want more men to take chances.
Yeah.
And like not be afraid to, as long as it's not a skinny jean, not be afraid to like take a chance. Like, I think with women, we're we'll go and just put it out there and see what we like and what sticks. I think men tend to stick to, you'll see men dress the same way for 30 years.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you would be surprised how your responses, how women react to you differently by like taking these chances and just trying something new. So I always say just try it. Like, you're not gonna die by like trying a different fit, trying a different look. And I think it really can help elevate a style.
Add a pop of color.
Yes.
Add a pattern.
Even like fun socks.
Yes.
Like, start there.
Shout out to the socks. These are my sons.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I got my boys' faces on my socks.
But see, those are conversation pieces.
Yes.
So if I'm out, which I will approach men, not a lot, but sometimes, if there's like something fun or quirky to talk about. So like, if I could talk about a guy's socks, I would say something, not necessarily keep the conversation going, but I might mention it as an open, know. So I think it's just always a fun thing to do out. If you're a single man, have like a starter piece. That's my advice.
Do you think that what you've done and how you've grown in entertainment helps you within your fashion business?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
They're very similar. Like, fashion and TV are very similar. Like, I liken like these stores to networks,
Okay.
like when I'm creating my clothing line, there's feedback, the same feedback you would get as talent on the TV show. And so it is almost like a partnership, like if I'm designing 20 styles for Macy's, they may come back and not like 10 of them. And then we have to have a conversation about why they don't like it. They may mention, they're always going to be networks, stores, retailers. They're always going to be money-based. It's no longer about creativity, unfortunately. And I think a lot of people feel like that in entertainment. Like, it's all about money. It's no longer about creative, which is why we're so excited for digital to exist, so you can get out and sow your creative oats. Because, unfortunately, I feel like a lot of creative with retailers is about the bottom line, not about like creating a special look for a woman to wear.
Yeah.
They don't really care about that stuff. They don't care. They care if the thing the woman loves makes them money. And there have definitely been times where I fought back and Macy's was like, okay, well, we'll do it online. We won't put it in the stores. We'll see how it does online.
Mm-hmm.
And every time I take a chance and fight for it, it sells out.
Mm-hmm.
And then they want 10 of it, you know? So it's all, you know, that fight never stops. I think like when I was younger, I always thought when I get to a certain point, I won't have to fight anymore.
Yeah.
And being Black, I don't think that exists. Like, and I think Halle Berry recently did an interview where she had to fight for a project on Netflix. And I'm thinking she has an Oscar, most beautiful woman in the world. Like, she got to fight.
Yeah.
I was like, well, damn it, I'm going to be fighting forever, you know? And I think Viola Davis has said the same thing. Like, there's never a point where, you know, you're not going to have to advocate for yourself. That's like a dream, unfortunately. And so, you know, I fight for the thing. I pick and choose my battles, but I do fight for the things I really, really believe in, because most of the time, these networks, the retailers, they don't necessarily care about the passion or the creativity. They just want to know if it's going to work for them. And you really have to be able to translate that language to let them know why that's important.
Yeah. It's like I said, for them it's bottom line.
It is, you know, they're doing their job, and you know, you have to do yours. And I think that's why I think for retailers, like people doing D2C, direct to consumer, has become really popular, because you bypass all that noise. But you need capital for that. And that's not easy to come by. Right. It's a lot of risk in retail. You know, it's just, I liken it to like, you know, everybody trying to be a rapper in your neighborhood. Like, you may have one that gets out every decade. And retail is like the mafia. Like, it's really hard to break into. It's hard to stay in. It's fickle, just like anything else. But I think actually my career in TV really gave me a thick skin and really gave me the tools to have these conversations with retailers that I would not have had without it. And it's also given me like being able to take an L sometimes and be like, okay, like I can pick and choose these battles because I know what it's like to do that in TV.
Yeah. Let me ask you this then. So we're nearing the end of this amazing conversation that I'm having with Miss Mina Parker, who, just like everybody else on this season, we saying they build different. And when you think about success now versus success 20 years ago when you first got to LA, how do you define success today?
Peace.
Come on. That's a good.
I would have never said that. I was actually okay with like chaos when I was younger. I kind of liked it. Now peace is so important to me, because I think like 20 years ago, I was so career driven. I didn't care about anything else, you know? And now I find myself really thinking about life outside of my career. It's not 100% anymore. You know, I still have the passion and I love it, but my quality of life is so important to me, but also like spending time with myself. I know a lot of people who can't be alone. You know, I really want to be able to enjoy my own company, really be able to know who I am without anybody telling me that. Because I think, you know, as a public figure, when you present yourself to the world, opinions are going to be all over the place and crisscrossing. And I really wanted to be solidified in who I was when I put myself out there. And before I wasn't. I didn't know what I was going to do, who I was. So now I say like success to me is really defined by peace, not by a dollar sign. You know, obviously I want to be able to be comfortable and pay my bills, but I have learned all money is not good money. And I've learned there, you know, if I was willing to do things, I probably would be further along in my career. But it's being able to sleep at night has been really important to me. I am incredibly pro-Black. And that is not welcome in all spaces. And I'm cool with that. And if that only takes me to a certain place, I'm cool with that, because I'm never going to not be. I'm never going to be the person who's performative for $1. That's just not how I'm built. And so I'm really excited that the people who find me, they stick with me, and we kind of are in this together, in this journey together. But I've made the decision that like, I'm just going to be who I am. And I hope it continues to, you know, make me a lovely career. But, you know, also my happiness is not tied to that anymore. It used to be, but, you know, I've been in therapy for many, many years, and I advocate therapy, especially for Black people, but specifically Black people in entertainment, because it will tear you from the inside out. People talk about LA being rough. New York being rough. LA is so different, because New York is rough, you know, on the exterior.
Just because
they're good people. You know, LA is like a silent assassin, because like people here will literally look you in your face and promise you something and smile and hug you, and you know, it's can be really deceitful and betraying. And I tell people all the time, and I've said this before, like, your heart will get broken more than once in this city, in this business. But being able to have like that peace, being able to have that tribe, being able to have like that sense of self will really, really protect you and pad you from those things, because it's going to come just like anything else. And life is already hard just regularly, not adding like, I feel like, a lot of us in entertainment are, a little bit sadistic because we keep coming back for more, but it's, it's what you do when you love something. And so when you're in the trenches, being able to have that peace, like for me, I think of one thing a day, like that really makes me happy. Like tonight I'm going out with a girlfriend and we're going to go listen to music. And it's the thing I have one thing a day that I look forward to. Sometimes it's just what I'm going to have for dinner. Sometimes it's doing a facial at night, but I try to give myself like one thing a day to look forward to, that when it's loud and when it's disappointing, I can look to that, or a phone conversation, whatever it may be, that I have to really to just soften that hard edge. And it's been incredibly helpful towards just overall peace.
Well, I really appreciate the transparency that you brought to this episode today. Again, guys, we've been here with the amazing Miss Mina Parker. We talked about her journey through entertainment and now through fashion. But one thing that I heard is just like the authenticity that you started with, is the authenticity that you have today. That's also the authenticity that now allows you to find success and peace. And I just love, I love peace. And so when you said that, I'm just like, I'm right there with you. Well, we close out every episode the same way. Here in just a second, I'm going to have you look at that camera there, and you're going to say, "Dear Black man," and you're going to finish that statement right there for me. All right. Now, before we do that, guys, as you're watching this episode and you're tapping in with us this season, remember, you got to do 3 things for me. You got to first subscribe to the channel. So that way more people that are like you can see this. You got to share it. So again, that there are more people that are like you can see this. Then you also got to like this particular episode, because I'm sure one of the things that Nina has said on today's episode not only blessed you, but will bless somebody else that needs to hear it, that has similar aspirations, but didn't know that people like them could achieve
Go
things
through
like
look
this.
at these likes.
Yeah, exactly. And see who did it. But we just appreciate you guys tapping in with us here on the check-in. Nina, I'm going to cue it over to you. Repeat after me and finish this statement. Dear Black man.
Dear Black man, you are seen, you are loved, you are understood, and you are necessary. Don't forget, you are the prototype.
And like that, we leave it on a high note, because we are the prototype. Peace out, y'all.